Excited to talk to our next guest here on GKW, as she is a two-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. Welcome to the show, Chelsea Green. Chelsea, what's going on?
Two-time, baby. That's right.
Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your current tag team partner, because on paper, it doesn't make sense. You and Piper Niven do not make sense on paper. However, in actuality, in practice, it is fantastic. Why are you two such a good pair together?
Because we're professionals. Hello. I am getting paid to be here and be with Little Miss P and win titles and entertain all the commoners, and that is what we do. I mean, also, we do kind of have a history together. We did live in Japan. We do have a friendship, so that also plays a part.
How proud were you of how she was received, in Scotland, and the match that she had at Clash of the Castle?
I mean, I watched it as a fan. I thought it was a banger of a match, and I was so proud of her. As females, you don't get to see us wrestle all that long. And for her to get like a 20-minute match in front of you guys and just show out and show the world what she could do, and have her parents in the front row, and her, it was a moment that I think is going to seriously live with her forever. And I felt that as her tag partner. I felt like it was me in the ring. It was amazing.
Fun has this run been for you? We'll call it WWE 2.0. You go out in the indies, you pull up, we'll call it a Cardona. For you to come back and be on this run, how fun has that been for you?
It was, it's been so fun because I don't care anymore. And I think you guys can see that. When I get in the ring, I don't care what I say. I don't care what I do. I don't care what my facial expressions are. I just do what comes naturally and what I feel in that moment. And it takes a lot for a performer to get to that stage in their life. And I think being released and going out on the indies and building all these new characters in the past 10 years, it's all led to this moment of just being truly myself.
So you mentioned, obviously, your time wrestling internationally in Japan. What are your thoughts on WWE trying to become more international? Just getting back from Scotland, having Clash of the Castle the second year, Backlashes in France. Before WrestleMania, you guys were in Australia. What are your thoughts on WWE trying to expand and become more international and having these PLEs in a lot of different countries?
I mean, why not? Americans, actually North America in general, has been so spoiled with wrestling. And I really think that we need to share the wealth. And, we have so much coming up. Obviously, we have Money in the Bank coming up. We've got the Bash at Berlin, so many things. There's so many opportunities for other fans to see us live. And I think that we this year have really proven that us going to places like France, like Saudi Arabia, and like Scotland, it's a breath of fresh air. Even just watching it, all these chants that these European fans are coming up with, the energy, it's electric. And I feel like this is the next era of WWE. It's traveling internationally.
Well, but here's the thing, they're so organized over there, Chelsea. It makes me feel bad as an American fan. They've got all these chants. I feel so disorganized compared to all these other places, or going to Puerto Rico like you guys did last year. It just, it makes me feel like as an American fan, we almost have to step our game up.
And they're so much more in tune than us Americans.
And you do. Look, you do. You got to step it up. The chants are unbelievable. France really crushed it with the chants, and then Scotland came in hot too. And it's so fun as performers to be out there and listen and try to figure out what they're saying too. It's so good.
Going back to that Piper Niven match, I really enjoyed it. I just don't know who that person was with that luchador mask. It kind of ruined the flow of the match. Can you put your finger on who was that to interrupt Piper Niven's match? I mean, the luchador mask, who was that? That's strange.
I don't know, but whoever it was, obviously would do anything for Piper Niven. And I think you just have to give that man or woman credit. They were trying their damnedest to make sure that Little Miss P came out on top in front of her friends and family. And I don't know that we'll ever figure out who that was, but whoever it was should really get a Medal of Honor, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's impressive. A big part of this new Chelsea has been Samantha Irvin and the entrance. How did that come to be and her introducing you the way she does?
I mean, that came to be because Queen Samantha said it and I loved it. And we both just were like, oh my gosh, do we have something really special here? Yes, we do. Keep going with it. And now it's become my personality. It's become a little part of me in my entrance, and it's what people remember. And I love getting videos of kids doing it, and I have people screaming at me on the streets with that like Samantha Irvin cadence. I love it so much, so now I have included it in my entrance music.
It's fantastic. I think yes, it is certainly a fan favorite. But you mentioned how you've reached this point as a performer where you're kind of going with the flow, and you're at this point where you have this little bit of freedom. So what are the other goals you have in WWE, or is this just kind of you take every show by every show and you just kind of flow?
I'm definitely going with the flow. Like, no matter what happens, I'm not going to be upset when things don't go the way that I hoped. But of course, as an athlete, we're always going to set goals. And it would be crazy if my next goal wasn't to win Money in the Bank in the motherland, right? I mean, my family is flying in. Nicholas the Pericles could not put me in a qualifying match. And then even if, God forbid, I didn't win my qualifying match, I will be in that match. I will figure out a way. I will, you know what? I will borrow that little luchadora mask from the hero, the
Yes.
unnamed hero, and I will be out there. I will be out there in Money in the Bank because that's what needs to be done.
Chelsea, let's talk about the state of the WWE right now. We know that you're having fun, but it just seems like the crew is having fun on Raw and SmackDown and NXT. Can you let us in behind the scenes on how everyone's feeling as far as the camaraderie in the WWE right now?
Well, look, I don't know what it was like. I mean, I don't even know what it was like 2 years ago. I don't know what it was like 10 years ago, but from what I know and what I experienced, this is the two best locker rooms in the history. Talent level, athleticism, acting skills, camaraderie, friendships. We just were having the best time. And I think that everyone has got to a point, and I don't know if this is in life or maybe just in our locker room, but we've all got to a point where we realize you do not need to step on people to get to the top. You just need to stay in your lane, do what you do best, and it all comes out in the wash. The cream will always rise to the top.
We've talked to Matt Cardona on this show, so I think by proxy, you are a friend of the show also. What are the difficulties of being a part of a wrestling couple like you are?
Well, first of all, have you ever wrestled, traveled, lived with someone? Because it's not easy. Okay? Doing all that, it's not easy. But at the end of the day, I mean, I've been wrestling 10 years. He's been wrestling 20. We have our boundaries. When we come home, wrestling, turn it off. Turn wrestling off. I mean, we'll try. So that's kind of our rule is
Yes.
we try.
Yeah.
My husband's a little crazy. He's a fanboy of wrestling, but I am pretty good at when I step through those doors and it is my day off, I turn wrestling off and I go into dog mom, cat mom mode, and I do everything that normal people do because otherwise I'd go crazy.
Yeah.
I really
It's very
would.
fair. So you mentioned the locker rooms for Raw and SmackDown, but you've also had the opportunity to kind of float as, a WWE Women's Tag Team Champion down to NXT and float there as well. What do you think of the younger crop that we're starting to see more and more on Raw and SmackDown as well?
I mean, they're amazing. They're so talented. We've never seen skill like we have now. In 2024, this is the epitome of just unbelievably, exceptionally talented men and women. But with that being said, NXT is developmental. They all have a lot to learn before they come up and deal with the big dogs, on Raw and SmackDown. But I am loving going down there and just getting fresh perspective from them and a fresh look at how they're learning wrestling and things like that. And then, in turn, I hope I rub off a little on them as well and just show them that, it's not all about these hard hitting moves. It's also about connecting with our audience and taking the time to have them invest in that match, whether it's 2 minutes or 22 minutes.
Yeah, Friday Night SmackDown at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. There's a few tickets still available for SmackDown. And of course, SmackDown every Friday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Do you have any memories of being in Chicago, Chelsea?
Oh my, so many. I mean, so many memories. There's some big shows I've done there, some unbelievable moments I've had, but I think the best moment is going to be this Friday when I qualify for Money in the Bank. Well, first I'm going to have to send a strongly worded email to Nicholas the Prickless, get a qualifying match, and then when I qualify for Money in the Bank at Allstate Arena.
And an investigation on who was in that match.
Yes.
I think that can open up an investigation. I mean, unless that's someone that you're going to bring into the fold, I think you need to find out who that was, that super fan.
Yeah, I'll do a little digging. I'll let you know if I find out.
Do you want to call your shot now once you have the briefcase who you're cashing it in on?
I don't know that I want to cash it in like immediately. I think I'm going to like hold it as long as I can because I do need to get it bedazzled.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
So, we're not in a rush. We're not in a rush. We're easy breezy girls,
Good to know.
Chelsea, we certainly appreciate the time. We certainly appreciate you jumping on. Best of luck in, the email you have to send. Best of luck once you do get that qualifying match because, yes, in your home country, it would be a shame if you were not fighting for that Money in the Bank briefcase.
Thank you. And I will be. Positive thoughts only, boys.
That's right.
We got you.
For Money in the Bank. We're on board.
Positive vibes. Positive vibes.
Thank you, guys.